Philip Dunne.
Thank you, Sir Bernard. Prime Minister, I'm going to move on to the subject of COP26 and the government's policies and delivery against those policies on climate change. Before I came into this place, my mantra was that past performance was no guide to the future. When the government responded to the Climate Change Committee's progress report recently, the government pointed to the historic success, which is laudable, in reducing reliance on renewable energy. Given the COVID crisis delay on introducing the myriad policies required to deliver against the admirable target of 78% reduction in emissions by 1990, when can we expect you or your ministers to start delivering to this House the policies that are required to get us to 78%?
Well, thanks very much, Mr. Dunne. Well, you will have seen what the government announced in the 10-point plan that I set out last November, and you will have seen what is happening with investments in green technology in this country. Just in the last week, you've seen Nissan confirming in Sunderland that they're going to be launching a massive investment in green vehicles, in battery-powered vehicles. You saw what's happening with the Gigafactory. You've seen what Stellantis is doing at Ellesmere Port. In terms of delivery on wind power and our objective of becoming the Saudi Arabia of wind, there are huge investments going on now, and the Secretary of State for BEIS has a mandate to produce 40 gigawatts of wind, which is enough to supply the domestic needs, the energy needs of every single household in this country by 2030. That is an incredible ambition, but I'm sure that we can do it, because you've been out to the coast of the northeast, around the country. You can see the incredible potential of the UK. You can see what we could do in Doggerland and elsewhere. We will do it. But you make the point about the historic achievement, and it is absolutely enormous. Don't forget that I think that the UK has cut CO2 emissions by more than 40% on 1990 levels, while the economy has grown by 75%, and we're confident that green technology and green investments are the route not just to cutting CO2, but to long-term job creation and economic growth.
I think you're right, Prime Minister, that there is enormous potential for the private sector to work with government in investing in new technologies, but they cannot do so in the absence of clarity about what the government's demand signals will be and what strategies will be in place. So wherever you look, whether it's the hydrogen strategy, the heat and building strategy, understanding how we're going to cope with the energy efficiency of homes, which is a massive task. 19 million homes need retrofitting. At the moment, there is a lacuna. We don't have these policies out there. And the private sector are not yet in a position to invest.
Did you say a vicuna?
A lacuna, I should say.
A vicuna is a
there's a gap.
We want to protect the vicuna, and we want to eradicate the lacuna, if I may say so. The vicuna forms a key part of our biodiversity objectives, but the lacuna is the thing that we are going to...
Back to the point now, Prime
Well,
Minister.
but I'm grateful. There is a huge opportunity for this country to lead in low-carbon technology, but also to drive jobs and growth, and that is what we are. That is what we are doing. And if you look at what we've done since this new government, since I came in 2 years ago, the 10-point plan. You say we haven't set out the framework for it. We have set out the framework. It's there. People can see what we need to do. So it's green vehicles, and that's a big thing in itself. And that means basically electrifying our fleet. And you could not have a more powerful signal on vehicles than what the government said. We're moving to electric vehicles by 2030. In this country. That was the government setting the signal and making the market. There's no other country in Europe that has adopted such a brave and bold timetable. And what has happened much to our satisfaction and relief, is that the automotive sector in the UK and around the world has responded, and they are investing. I get back to what I said about the Nissan investments, what's happening at Stellantis and elsewhere. And we will work to ensure that we bring this is the key thing, we have the scale of manufacture in this country to allow the price of these EVs and other green technology goods to come down. So that's EVs. Then there's domestic heat and power.
If you'll excuse me, Prime Minister, I've got 30 seconds left. And I need to get a couple more questions in. In relation to the COP26, this is your opportunity to be on the world stage with representatives of every nation on earth. You won't get such an opportunity during your Prime Ministership. You need to be able to demonstrate that the UK is leading, as you've just done on batteries, but all the other areas where the strategies are not in place. Are we going to see these coming out before COP26? Let's take hydrogen strategy, for example. Many other countries, there are 16 other countries that have developed a hydrogen strategy. We don't have one.
I'm afraid I've got to disagree with you completely. The UK was the first country in the world, Philip, first major developed economy to set a net zero target by 2050. When this government took over the running of COP, only 30% of the global economy was committed to net zero by 2050. It's now 70%. We have a huge on hydrogen. It's there in the 10-point plan. BEIS are driving a very strong hydrogen strategy.
And they haven't published it yet, Prime Minister. That's the point.
And if you look at what's happening with carbon capture and storage and the creation of hydrogen, green hydrogen, blue hydrogen, in the northeast and elsewhere, I think you're right. I think hydrogen is a big part
but we haven't got a published strategy.
But it is only one of the horses that we're betting on. It must be a big
Mr.
part of the
Dunne,
I have a quick final question, where I think we can agree. You, I believe, were as shocked as I was to see reports of Amazon destroying unsold consumer electronics from a warehouse less than an hour away from Glasgow, where you'll be holding COP26. Is there anything that you can do as a UK government to hold global corporates to account for their environmental footprint?
I read that and I was absolutely horrified, though I noticed that Amazon then tried to clear it up in some way and claim that it wasn't as it had been initially presented. I don't know the reality of the position, but obviously destroying consumer electronics in to landfill in that way is absolutely insane. But what we have done, and we did this at the G7, we for the first time got global agreement that there should be a tax on the sales of internet giants such as Amazon on the basis of their sales in market. So in the UK, this is a massive achievement, led, I may say, by Rishi, by the Chancellor, to get a global agreement on taxing the internet giants, and about time too.
Thank you, Mr. Dunne.